In December 2014, ISIS captured 7 Coptic Egyptians as they were making their way home to Egypt. A week later, ISIS raided the housing complex where the Egyptians had been staying, capturing 13 more Coptic Christians. In all, 20 Coptic Egyptians were gathered together in an underground prison. With Matthew, the group became 21. Thus, the journey of torture began. The more they were tortured, the more their faith seemed to grow. The Christians were forced to wear orange jumpsuits as ISIS filmed them walking along the beach. The man walked looking toward the sky and didn't say a word except their prayers to God. ISIS slaughtered the man one by one, hoping that some would deny their faith. None did, and they all died with the name of Jesus on their lips. In December 2014.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. We can only hope that when we face our end, that we can face it the way those Coptic Christians did. Just for FYI, Coptic Christians are an ethnic group of people. They are from Egypt and Sudan, or Sudanese, and they are an Orthodox Christian group. I mean, talk about bravery, they were kidnapped, tortured, left in prison cells, basically starved, probably beaten and brutalized quite a bit and tortured. And then the last thing that they do was they were walked to that beach, and then again, each of them had their throats slit one at a time, saying, hey, convert to Islam, And they're like, no. Again, religion of peace, folks. I mean, when do Christians do this type of stuff? I mean, I know that there is currently an ethnic cleansing of Christians going on in Syria. Remember the video of that little girl? I'm so happy to have my country back. She's a refugee in Michigan. You think she's gone back? I mean, if she's Muslim, she'll probably be just fine. But, again, this kind of stuff happens all over the world. And finally, social media is bringing attention, not the media. The media is not bringing attention to this. The media doesn't care about Christians because Christians are somewhat of a majority in this country. I wouldn't say this because it's a Christian country anymore. I mean, there are lots of people who identify as Christian that don't act as Christian, And again, Hollywood would tell you that the Christians who act the most like Christians are the Christians who act the least like Christians because it's about affirmation. It's about toxic tolerance. It's about affirmation. Again, and could you stand there and have your throat slit when you have an out? Just say no. It's like, but those guys kept the faith and willingly faced their brutal deaths. Like Christ were like, forgive them, Lord, they know not what they do. That's the kind of courage we all hope we can show. Like you have the ability to forgive your enemies, even though they absolutely hate your guts. Yeah. So that's just kind of what we were talking about today. Again, I know we always kind of come back to this, but I mean, I see one problem in the world. I see one giant glaring problem. Well, there's really two. One's the Democratic Party, or which is just communism light. I mean, It's really just full-blown communism. But a bigger problem is Islam. And I think it's a religion that was created by Satan himself. And it's a religion and a culture that is being imported by the West, all these countries in Europe and even us here in the U.S. Mm-hmm. No problem. They have no allegiance. They have no loyalty to their home countries. They have no loyalty to anything except their people in their religion. This is why why there are so many pro-Palestine protests. Most of those people are not Palestinians. Most of those people don't care about the Muslims are there. The only reason that they even have a shared interest is because they're Muslims. They don't care about them being killed. They don't care about the ethnic genocide.
Yeah. Well, the fact that none of the neighboring countries
will accept them,
that goes to show you that it has nothing to do with, them being, Palestinian. Like, we don't want them either.
Yeah, they're, like I said, Egypt, Jordan, they all know those people are troublemakers.
Yeah, they just know that they can use that as propaganda to be against Israel.
Because they all don't like Israel because they're all Muslims. Again, Israel's not my country. I'm no huge fan of Israel. But again, whenever everyone around you hates you, you just got to sit there and go, the Middle East has a lot of problems. And for whatever reason, they blame all their problems on this one place when it's just an excuse. Do you think if Israel disappeared tomorrow, there'd be peace in the Middle East? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they just start killing each other again.
Yep.
So it's absolutely insane. It's ridiculous. And again, I am in awe. I stand in awe of those Coptic Christians and their just mental fortitude to keep the faith.
Yep.
I mean, again, what do you think you would do, Chad? I mean, do you think you would be able to have the courage to just be like, yeah, no, screw you, bro, and Christ is Lord? You know, it's like, I think we all think
I
that
wanna,
we would
yeah,
say
I
that.
wanna say yes, but you know, when there's a knife to your throat or a gun to your head, you know, you find out how really deep your convictions are. We all hope, in the long run, that you would say yes, you
Yep.
know, but fear and one person can start a chain
Yeah.
effect or a domino effect of people saying, okay, I
It's a
convert.
lot like SEAL school or anything. You know, I'll describe it like this. You know, it's like if you see one person falter, everyone else will falter because like, oh, if he can't do it, I can't do it. Or it's like again, it's like that Navy, those high school kids that tried to do it. They let these high school kids who were like on a sports team. I can't remember what kind of sports team
It was a boating. It was like a rowing team or a boating team.
So they did like a week of buds or something like that, like one of the hell weeks of Navy SEAL training. And one of the kids out of all of them was able to do it. And when all the other kids found out, one of them
No, it was one group. One group stuck through it the entire time. Because remember, they
Yes.
were doing like them carrying the boats and stuff. It was like the hardest day since they were boaters or rowers or whatever.
they were doing
They did the hard thing where you have
rowing
to
into
run
the
the boat,
tide.
you row out to the tide, and then you row back. That's what they were doing.
and one of the groups survived that hell week. And another group of kids was like, if they did it, we can do it too.
Yeah, and they came back and all of them completed it.
But again,
because
if
they
you-
knew it could be done.
Yeah, but again, in that same vein, if you see a bunch of people quit, or a bunch again in this case with these Christians, if you saw one of them be like, yeah, Muhammad is God,
Mm-hmm.
and again, Muhammad's not recognized as God, but he's their God figure, he's their Jesus figure in that religion. So, again, you saw somebody go, yep, nope, totally, I'm totally Jesus is not Lord and Christ is not King and Muhammad is better than everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, imagine what that would do to you. It's like, well, he gets to live now. And not only does he get to live, he gets to have multiple wives, and he can potentially go to this fake version of heaven where he's going to get 72 virgins in the afterlife, So I hope that I have the convictions that these men had, and I hope that I could be half as brave and courageous in the face of your own demise.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, God rest those men's souls, and, God willing, they're in paradise right now with the Lord Jesus, and their deaths will bring a lot of faith to other Christians who are, it's like, I'm struggling with my faith. It's, I struggle with this, I struggle with that. It's like those guys died. Those guys had knives to their throats and kept the faith, man. Like again, those are Christian martyrs are good martyrs. Like Muslim martyrs hurt people. Christian martyrs die by their convictions.
Mm-hmm.
Muslim martyrs take as many people as
No-
they can with
no
them
other-
to hurt and
yeah.
maim people.
No other people suffer due to a Christian martyrdom, but crap tons of people suffer against Islamic martyrdom.
Mm-hmm. It's really crazy. And again, we're importing this culture in the U.S. They're importing it in the U.K. Now we got tons of means we can kind of go through to kind of just prove the point here.
Well,
and we'll try to go through them as quick as we can.
We've got a couple that aren't related, but this first one here is Democrats obstruct the House censure procedure by blocking the floor and singing like lunatics. Thank you, Democrats, for helping the GOP win the midterms and 60 Senate seats. And yeah, we'll watch this video real quick.
By its adoption of House Resolution 189, the House has resolved that Representative Al Green be censured, that Representative Al Green forthwith present himself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure, and that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker.
They're all singing. So this right here, I have a huge problem with. Isn't this technically considered an insurrection? Like they are breaking the rules of the House?
By Democrat standards, this is an insurrection. And again, This is, again, it's all political theater. They have no platform. They have no convictions. They have nothing to stand by. All they're doing is they're going to try to censure Al Green for making a fool of himself during the Trump State of the Union kind of thing.
Clear the well, please.
And again, you know, it's like, I mean, they might as well just be in there going, down, skeet, 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 mother trucker, down, skeet, skeet, hot dang. You know, like, I mean, like, there's nothing there. It's just political theater. They're all posturing, going, "Oh, see, look how united we are as Democrats."
Well, look
Pursuant
here.
to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the House
Well,
will
here,
stand in recess.
He's
subject
going to
the
call
of the
recess.
chair.
It's like, which this is ridiculous. He should have done what he did during the State of the Union.
Well, it's a lose-lose no matter what they do. So they lose because they just go, "We'll go to a recess and we'll come back to this. We'll table it and we'll circle back to it." But what they want and what will look good for all of their re-elections if they're all handcuffed and pulled out of there, like, look at it'll give them the PR that they want. It's like Trump's Congress is a dictatorship as they're all handcuffed and carried out.
Look at them.
You know?
They had all their political rivals thrown out of,
you know,
out of the House of Congress.
And I think that the speaker had the foresight to kind of see that, like, this is not going to end well, because that's what that guy Al Green's going to be. It's like they drug out brave, heroic Al Green out of there, trying to stand up to our dictator tyrant president. You know,
Well,
stupid.
Exactly. And this next one is great from Stone Toss. Thought crime doesn't exist, and it's clearly a trans woman. He goes, "Okay, dude, whatever. Thought crime doesn't exist." Then he just like thinks on what he said and is crying to the police, and the guy's being arrested.
Yep. Next scene, arrested. But again, Stone Toss is the best in the biz, man.
Then this next one here is from Libs of TikTok, and it's Democrat Rashida Tlaib held up a sign during Trump's speech demanding that he start by paying your taxes. In 2014, Rep. Tlaib was forced to pay more than $4,500 in back taxes after she was caught underpaying property taxes on a rental property for 6 years. They always accuse them of what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, what a scumbag, you know. And again, you could, to be charitable, you know, like to give her the steel man that she would never give Donald Trump. You know, maybe she just didn't know or didn't go over her tax with her. You know, again, it could have been her tax person not doing the proper paperwork or something, or just missing one thing. But of course, when you have a million businesses you're running like Trump, it's like, oh, maybe his tax people are, you know, not going in over dotting every T, crossing every I. Maybe one form got missigned, and then that's what did it bad. But again, nobody who hates Trump is going to give him that steel man. They're not going to give him that charity.
Yep. Next one here is, and this sums up the right to a T. Who wants the Epstein list to be released? And everyone's got their hands up. He goes, who wants it to be released, even if it has names on it of people you like? Yes, absolutely. I don't care whose name is on that. I want it released.
I can't remember what the meme was, but it was like, you know, it was like the base Chad meme. He goes, and it was like the soy boy Democrat going, Republicans will be exposed by this too. And then like the base Chad just looks at him and goes, good.
Yeah. Republicans or conservative people want all the corruption out. Not just the left corruption out. They want all corruption out.
We want good men of moral Christian integrity and moral fiber. Like, we want them in there and we want someone who one day will be held accountable for everything that they're going to be doing. If there are people in there who don't think they're going to be held accountable, don't adhere to some type of God that says, hey, you will be judged harshly for all the wrongdoings in this life. You know, that's the thing. The that's why Democrats can lie to you. It's against, what's his name? The black Supreme Court justice. He goes, you can't take an atheist's word when they put their hand on the Bible and swear they'll tell the truth and nothing but the truth, because there's nothing backing up their moral convictions.
Yeah. Next one I have here is, remember, Justin Trudeau didn't cry when he did this, and this was them like doing those protests against him.
We all agree. It means we all work together, we all listen to each other, we all respect each other, and that's how we move forward on doing the most important thing in front of us, which is protecting nature.
Look, this is Canada, everyone. The most, friendly and peace-loving people in the world.
Again, remember, these are the truck drivers that were protesting the vaccine passport thing. So that because they were truck drivers are the lifeblood. They're like the red blood cells carrying oxygen throughout the body. Like, They deliver the mandatory supplies and logistics stuff all around the world. They deliver the food, they deliver the oil, they deliver all that stuff everywhere. And Justin Trudeau's like, vaccine passport or you can't drive anywhere. And whenever they went to protest, he locked their bank accounts. That's authoritarian. But no one calls Justin Trudeau a dictator. At least the mainstream media doesn't.
Yeah, no, 100%.
They call Trump a dictator for being like, Canada's going to be the 51st state. like evil, monstrous.
Mm-hmm. This next one I have pulled up is Starlink is not allowed to operate in South Africa because I'm not black, says Elon Musk. So he reposts this from Mario Knopfel. South Africa is on the edge of a socialist abyss. Robert Henderson, more than 140 race-based laws in South Africa, all anti-white.
Yeah.
See what I'm missing. There's been an endless laws of anti-white boiling us like frogs in a bowl. And all I can say is thank you, America, and thank you, Donald Trump, for taking notice because we are on edge of the socialist abyss.
Good. I mean, that's true. I mean, it's really scary
140 race-based laws in South Africa, all anti-white. And 8 days ago, Cyril Ramaphosa, our president, signed into law, and just hear these 3 words, expropriation without compensation. And this is just the straw that broke the camel's back. There's been endless laws, anti-white, boiling us like a frog in a bowl. And all I can say is thank you, America, and thank you, Donald Trump, for taking notice, because we are on the edge of the socialist abyss.
So how do you guys get out of this? Obviously, there's a complex racial history there. How do you reverse some of this? I mean, that's an awful lot of laws. And
I don't think we can internally. We have to wait till the 2029 national election, and I don't think our economy will survive. It requires some external dynamic to change it. And I think Donald Trump and America taking notice and coming in swinging with a baseball bat may be that dynamic we need.
So when you saw over the last couple of years in America, wokeness infecting our systems, and suddenly we were focused on race, and we were putting it into it was this very people who said we were systemically racist that were putting racism into the system in a systemic way. It must have given you a little concern about the direction we're going, as much as that's now been rolled back.
Well, we've been infected in South Africa with the evil woke mind virus way more than in America. We've got it times 2, and there's no momentum in South Africa to reverse it. In fact, it's quite the opposite.
Yeah. Again, we showed you that Farmlands documentary with South Africa. They don't care. They have socialist policies. They have communist policies where, we are any business that's state funded has to hire exactly of the population dynamics, a perfect equity. And again, that means only 12% of any business can have white people hired.
And if
there.
you think that that's good, if you're a liberal and you think that that's good, that means that any company that has it's a black-owned business that only hires black people, that means they have to fire pretty much half, not half, 70% to 80 to 90% of their staff. So 85% of their staff and hire white people.
No, you got that backwards.
No, it's not. If they follow the laws in South Africa and there's a black-owned business here in America, equity would dictate that they would have to fire, say it's 100% all black people, they'd have to fire
I thought
80%. No. They have to fire 80% of the black people that they're in their business and hire, 75% white?
Yeah.
And then another 10% Hispanic.
Yeah. Again, the math don't math. You know what I mean? It's not smart. It's not
what
good
if you
business
live
practice.
in a community that is all black? You have to import white people into your community just to hire that many people.
Sorry, we'll tax your business more because you didn't hire the right amount of diversity.
But it's the same.
People.
It's same thing with here in some of the suburban communities in Texas, anywhere in America. It's all white. If you would come to the business and go, you don't have any people of color that are hired here. It goes, well, there's, this is a predominantly white community. Where do we want us to? We have to import them in to get this equitable amount that you're talking about. But anyway, this next one holds true. No man can get rich in politics unless he's crooked. Harry S. Truman. And remember, every politician's net worth has gone up after they've gotten the presidency, except for Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the only one whose net worth went down by about $1 million, by $1 million or a few $1 million.
Yeah. Again, it doesn't make any sense, but this is it. I mean, it's all about who you know. It's about surrounding yourself with corrupt people who will be like, hey, man, as long as you say the right things or you toe the right lines, you're going to get wealthy in this business.
Yep. Next one I have pulled up here, Bernie Sanders. For 250 years, the United States has supported democracy. Now in the middle of a horrific war that Putin started, Trump is turning his back on Ukraine and democracy, all to benefit a brutal dictator in Moscow. Readers, additional context from Community Notes. Bernie Sanders in 2019. The U.S. overthrew the government in Guatemala and democratically elected government overthrew the government of Brazil. I actually agree with Trump. One of the very few times I did, in terms of his willingness to sit down with Kim Jong-un. So why is talking with one dictator a bad thing and trying to negotiate peace a bad thing, but negotiation with another one is seen as undemocratic?
Because it's politically convenient. And again, this is Bernie Sanders, the guy that vacationed in communist Russia or had his honeymoon in communist Russia. I mean, the communists were great. Yeah. Stalin's communist utopia was fantastic. But Putin's is bad. It's bad, and we shouldn't negotiate with them. We should just send up people off to war and kill all Russians. That's what their goal is. There is no logic behind this. It's like what Trump said. He said the best thing you could say, I just want people to stop dying. And that was controversial for the Democrats in the media.
Yep. This next one I have pulled up here is new. The city of Denver has released a video of ICE chasing down and arresting suspected Transgender gang member who had just been arrested from jail. Been released from jail after Denver refused to hand him over to ICE inside the safety of the facility due to the sanctuary policies. Instead, he was released on the streets, and this is them trying to chase him down as he's coming out of the jail. I know it's hard to see because it's just a static camera, but yeah, they're chasing down this dude.
Or he goes back into the jail to...
No, I think he just runs off, but he might. I don't know. It's like, we'll see if it says there any more. He was released upon seeing ICE agents. He fled. ICE says he was assaulted. ICE says he was assaulted. An ICE agent says he was assaulted while being taken into custody. Channel 9 News reports that the ICE requested 48 hours of upon his release, but they received the notification that Denver jail 90 minutes before email. Said released, good Lord, received the notification of Denver County Jail 90 minutes before the email. ICE says it makes no sense for a sanctuary policy to ban transfers inside jails where there is safer to move everyone. In this case, 6 ICE officers had to show up and apprehend the uncuffed Transgenders gang member after he was released from jail. Denver's Mike Johnson says that he reached out to ICE yesterday and is asking to sit down with them to discuss the best procedures moving forward.
Oh, I bet now, don't you? But this is what's so ridiculous, man. It's like, why do you make laws that benefit the worst people in the world, the worst criminal, illegal aliens? It's like, they have rights too. It's like, these guys are rapists, killers, and murderers, like Trump said all that time ago. They're not sending their best. There are people coming over here just for economic benefits or for crime. And then you release these people, you warn them that they're coming, and then the criminals can have the chance to get away. Like, what are we doing here, folks? You're allowing again, Democrat policies they're pro-criminal. They're anti-victim, pro-criminal.
Yep. This next one I pulled up, another stone toss. ID please at the movie theater. Mm-hmm. ID please at the DMV, and then ID please at the terminal security.
Yeah.
And then we have voter ID.
Just vote. We don't need to see your ID. Not a citizen? Perfect. Bring him in.
Oh, yeah, this one was hilarious. Just a quick reminder that the kidnapping hoax survivor, Gretchen Whitmer, owns and proudly displays a Fauci pillow in her home.
Yeah, you remember that? The whole FBI sting operation where there were more FBI agents than people being prosecuted?
Yeah, there were like 12 people involved in this kidnapping of Gretchen Whitmer.
Militiamen.
Only 2 of them weren't
Yeah.
people who were working with the FBI or CIA.
Yeah. So, and again, it's entrapment. They encourage these guys drinking beer and be like, "Do you think we should kidnap the governor? I mean, none of us like her, right?" And I mean, just a bunch of FBI fuds.
Yeah, funny funny like drunk talk. Wouldn't it be hilarious if we kidnapped the governor? You know.
And then you get drink some more beers. We should really do it though. And then they encourage these two dudes who don't have any intentions of really doing it. That just all talk. It's the same conversations you have at a bar. Do you think one guy with a machine gun could defeat the 300 Spartans or 1,000 ninjas?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about here. And then these FBI agents were all awarded and given medals for their service for stopping this kidnapping plot that was orchestrated by the FBI.
It's like those funny "Would you rather" Family Guy things.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
And again, this is how the FBI justifies their salaries.
Mm-hmm. This next one I have pulled up here is Americans right now, and it's Melania Trump smiling. Democrats right now, and it's whatever that lady is that needs to be kicked out because she's too old.
Yeah.
Why are all the Democrats? I mean, have you noticed that all the Democrats are like super old? They have like 5 really young ones that they tout all the time, saying, "Look how young and progressive we
saying
are."
That there are some young Democrats is like saying you and I are young.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we're hip.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we're 30s, we're 34. Like, come on, like AOC's older than we are.
Mm-hmm. Next one I have here is this is kind of goes back to that one we were talking about getting rich in politics. Hakeem Jeffries was $40,000 in debt when he came into Congress. In 6 years, he has assimilated $36 million stock portfolio. Very strange. Suspicious.
Sure, he's got to pay 40% tax on that, but still, folks, that's pretty impressive for a guy who was 40K in the hole. I mean, well, that's just because he's a hell of a businessman. Wait a minute. He's not a businessman. He's a congressperson. He doesn't own anything.
Mm-hmm.
How's he getting money? I mean, again, but investigate Donald Trump.
Yeah. Next one I have here is clearly a Black Lives Matter, Antifa protester saying, "Abolish the police." And then there's a white police officer says, "Well then, racist ex-cop, I guess you're free to go."
That's good.
And then he's immediately regretting his decision.
Yeah, stone toss, man. He's the best. He's the best. It's hilarious. It's like, wait a minute, maybe we do want prisons to be a thing.
Yep. Then this next one I have here is just the truest statement of like the liberals have to be against anything that Trump does. Trump cures cancer. Curing cancer is racist.
Yeah.
No, curing cancer is racist. We have a right to die from cancer. We want our cancer back.
Yeah.
Golly. I love it.
That's so true.
Then this right here is speaking of like the South African issue that we were just talking about earlier too. White crosses are placed for every family murdered, every farm murder of white farmers or Boers that is committed in South Africa. This resembles a genocide. Look how long this is.
Highway.
Mm-hmm. It goes on. I mean, it doesn't reach the end of it by the time this video actually ends, which it goes on for a hot minute.
Look, I want to point something out. This right here, look at all those crosses on the side of the road. That is the future of this country if we don't just do away with racial politics, if we don't just do away with racial identity politics. That is what our country will look like. You understand? That's the future of America if the Democrats are allowed to continue the racial identity politics. It's going to push everything to a boiling point. Now, I know what you're saying. It's like, that's crazy. That'll never happen again. Did you think we'd be having conversations about trans people? Like, this seriously? Did you think we'd be having, like, males playing in female sports and people be like, this is the world's biggest human rights issue? Never say never, folks. Yeah. Never underestimate the stupidity of the human nature.
Mm-hmm. Which, speaking of that, that's this next one. In Wokeness says, "This bill impacts my ability to be with kids," this transgender person.
Good.
And he goes, and that's what he says. That's kind of the point.
Yeah. We don't want you around our kids. I mean, unless you're at like a birthday party and you're a clown.
Hello, my name is Bridget Bandit, and I'm speaking in opposition to SB 18. I'm a born and raised Texan and full-time drag queen. Previously, I've worked with children throughout my life as a swim instructor, teaching summer art camps, hosting children's birthday parties, and volunteering in my church as a youth group leader. Today, I occasionally host drag queen story times. These kinds of events don't differ much from the kind of work I did before, yet this bill would impact my ability to work with children simply based on a subjective and ill-defined expectation of how I should look. Hello, my name...
No.
And again, vet your local birthday clowns too, apparently. I don't want a clown that's got this kind of stuff going on in their personal life around.
Yeah. Again, that's the next thing here is like what the left wants you to believe toxic masculinity is. And it's, looks like a Conor McGregor type guy, super jacked, all that. Then it says what real toxic masculinity is. And it's men pretending to be women or children. Like, women, do you want to marry this type of guy or these type of guys? Ask yourself that. If you are raising men to be like this, you are basically ending our species.
Yeah. That's true though, but I mean, this is what happens when your modern day action stars are like dudes that look like Timothy Chalamet. The kid from Dune.
Yeah.
I mean, again, they're
Twinks.
limp-wristed, twink-looking soy boys. It's like, that's masculinity right there. It's like, no, that's a dude that's like, if the gust of wind got a hold of him, he would blow away.
Yeah. Which is next one I have pulled up is crazy leftist attacks a Cybertruck with a family inside near Bryant Park in NYC. So this is what we're talking about. Is like crazy people have been attacking Tesla electric charging stations, Tesla dealerships, and like Tesla cars. Like, I mean, there are Tesla drivers who have a little sticker on it that says, "Don't attack me. I bought this truck before Elon went crazy."
Yeah. I mean, that's how we live in a very, very ridiculous society, a sick culture we have. It's like, you know what? A guy is trying to cut government spending and cut government waste and bloat. I'm going to attack his car dealerships, which he has nothing to do with. They sell his products. I mean, the people who are making money off of selling Teslas have nothing to do with Elon Musk. They have less than nothing to do with Elon Musk. They're just selling it. This would be like if you were angry at Ford and you went and attacked a Ford dealership or attacked a Ford salesman. He is not directly affiliated with Ford. It's not like the Ford company director goes up to him and goes, "Hello." It's like I meet every single one of my employees. No.
Anyway, the next one that I have here is the truth about liberal virtue signaling. Hate has no home here. And it says, unless it's hate for Trump, his supporters, white men, Christians, and conservatives, which is 100% true. Those are the only people that you can attack in the United States of America and not be like arrested
Persecuted for it, yeah.
If you were to say half the things that we were to say about any other race or religion here, you're getting a little visit from the police or the FBI or something.
Yeah, it's true.
Then here's what you were talking about regarding what's going on in like Syria and all that.
Yep.
Radical Islamic extremists are rounding up and murdering Christians in Syria. Where is all the self-proclaimed human rights organizations?
And again, people who would hate watch this show would say, obviously people are talking about it, otherwise it wouldn't be filmed. It's like, no, these people are filming it because they think it's awesome. Like, they're all for this. And the only places that are reporting on it are social media platforms. Like, X is probably the only one that this video is even allowed to be shown on. Like, Facebook will take this down. Instagram would take this down. Like, this is the type, like, X is the only platform where you will see stuff like this.
Mm-hmm. This next one, and this is why Democrats keep losing. Like, all these issues that we keep coming back to and circling back to: trans, illegal immigration, radical Islamic extremism. Said it is not a crime is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It is not a crime, says Rep. Jasmine Crockett, and then she immediately gets community noted. Says yes, it is a crime. C8 USC. Code 1325 or 1325.
This is just like the AOC, dumb AOC points. Like, then there are no such thing as illegal people. It's like, well, you can still be committing crimes.
Yeah. Then this next one is kind of like what we brought up the other day. And with the insurance stuff, it's kind of hypocritical for a congressperson or senator or whatever to advocate or write bills in favor of particular things. And then receiving kickbacks or being on the boards of these companies. And this is what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is talking about right here regarding Ozempic, how several of Congress people are getting money from pharmaceutical companies. So I'll let this play for just a little bit.
Yeah.
Today, over 100 members of Congress support a bill to fund Ozempic with Medicare at $1,500 a month. Most of these members have taken money from the manufacturer of that product, a European company called Novo Nordisk. As everyone knows, once a drug is approved for Medicare, it goes to Medicaid. And there's a push to recommend Ozempic for Americans as young as 6. over a condition, obesity, that is completely preventable and barely even existed 100 years ago. Since 74% of Americans are obese, the cost of all of them, if they take their Ozempic prescriptions, will be $3 trillion a year. This is a drug that has made Novo Nordisk the biggest company in Europe. It's a Danish company, but the Danish government does not recommend it. It recommends a change in diet to treat obesity and exercise.
Yeah.
But again, it's going to come down to your lifestyle choices. Again, if you change your lifestyle, if you walk 10,000 steps a day and you work out at the gym at least 3 to 4 times a week, you're going to see good changes in your body. Mm-hmm. Eat natural food. Don't go fast. Don't eat fast food. Or if you do, make it like a monthly thing. Like go to your favorite fast food restaurant once or twice a month, and that's it.
Yep.
Don't drink sugary soda pops. Just drink water and drink,
milk.
I don't know, milk. And then eat natural food from the store. The less ingredients, the better.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like what we talked about before. Like the government makes bad food for us. You know, they subsidize bad, unhealthy foods like high fructose corn syrup, which is actually harder to make than processed sugar. Mm-hmm. High fructose corn syrup is more expensive, but they subsidize corn. Mm-hmm. So it's actually cheaper than it would be if they got rid of the corn, subsidies. But they give you the poison. The government feeds you the poison, and then they recommend the drugs to cure you.
Yep.
And anyway, but the next one I have here is just another reason why Democrats continue to lose and never learn from anything. I would never have dinner with an election denier, says Irene Adler. And then you got Irene Adler right here. She won. And it's Hillary Clinton back in 2016.
She won.
Mm-hmm. Then this next one, a man pretending to be a woman preaches to women about what it means to be a woman during the Women's International Women's Day March. This is beyond parody.
That there is no definition that anyone can find to define what is a woman that excludes me, that does not also exclude...
I am a woman. It is ma'am. It is ma'am.
Golly. We live in the upside down world, man.
Mm-hmm. If you're not with Ukraine, then you are a Putin puppet. Only a retard deals in absolutes. I love it. And he's got like yellow and blue hair to represent the flag. Perfect. I love it. I love it. Next one I have here is, and they say that America is Islamophobic. China is completely demolishing mosques because they have labeled Islam as a mental illness now.
I mean, hey, sometimes, sometimes communist dictatorships get things right, folks, and that's one of the things that they got right. But no, again, it's scary because they could just say the same. But this is communism, though. I mean, they can say that about any religion.
Yeah.
You don't think that? I mean, Christians are persecuted in China. You can go to jail for being a Christian in China.
But this is what we're getting at with like the fall of the West right now is like other countries.
China's hyper aware of the problems that Islam pose and takes it seriously. As where we go, no. Once they have jobs and they experience Western culture, all of their morals and values will change like that. And that's true. Some of them will. Some will be like, I love porn. I like banging hookers and ladies of the night. I'm all about this degenerate lifestyle. But again, they'll do that you can only do that for so long until your heart yearns for something more. This is it's the God gap. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to Islam, you can have all the pleasures of the world, and then you can hurt other people and still be justified in doing it.
Yep. But this next thing right here is, this kind of goes to the alluding to the downfall of the West here, is every other country that is not of the West is like sees this as a problem and is doing something about it actively.
They're being proactive about it.
Exactly. Whereas the West is like, if you do that, it's Islamophobic or anything like that. It's like, well, considering that Europe has been predominantly a Christian worldview place, it's okay to see them kind of wither away. But these other countries are like, nope, we're going to lose our heritage if we let these people continue.
In China, you could call them racist. They don't care because what is it? They're homogeneously and ethnically Chinese. They don't care about being racist. Like, yeah, of course we look at other cultures and other people of different races with a meter stick, or we approach people cautiously. Here in the West, again, what's the worst thing that can happen to you in the West? The worst thing that you can be is called racist in this country and in the West in general. If you're called that, you are the bottom of the totem pole. Like, people hate you. You are a pariah. It's like, oh, you're Islamophobic. You hate brown people. No, I'm just cautious of what their cultures bring. And they go, how dare you? All cultures are equal. That's where we are. And again, that's the toxic empathy that we're seeing, and that's why the West is about to collapse. Because we don't care. Like, we care more about other people's culture than we care about preserving our culture.
Yep. Which brings up this next one I have. Is like, you literally just see this boat pull up on the UK shore, and this looks like this person here is picnicking and lounging on the beach. And what happens? Here comes a boat filled with migrants running ashore in a
And we don't even know they're migrants. Those could be Islamic jihadist terrorists coming and meeting with another terrorist cell there to plan the next big Ariana Grande explosive concert, you know.
Well, that's what it says here. So, penalty for illegal entry. Singapore, 6 months in jail. Russia, 2 years in a hard labor camp. Pakistan, 10 years in jail. India, 8 years in jail. North Korea, death. Great Britain, free housing, healthcare, education, food, mobile phone, and cash. Over 2,000 illegals have arrived since last week.
Hey, it's the same thing at the U.S. border, too. We'll have cell phones waiting for you, and we'll see you in court in 2 years for your asylum status.
And then you sent me this one. Islamic preacher in Syria openly calls for genocide of Christian Syrians and justifies his recent massacres. As long as you Christian raise the cross, we will not leave you. We will fight you until the last one of you is gone.
And again, this is one of those things where either we're going to have a crusade o'clock. Yeah, he's just speaking Arabic or whatever. Either the Christians in that country crusade and fight back and say, we will not yield, or they go the way. I mean, either way, the Christians will win in the end, because if they martyr themselves, they will bring more awareness to it. But again, it's kind of like that thing that back in the day, it's like all the Christians, early Christians, like they were martyring themselves because they wanted to be like Christ. And then the church leaders were like, God wants you to live. Stop martyring yourselves, or we won't even have a religion. You know what I mean? Like, we won't have like, we have to spread the gospel to the world to save everyone. Like, if you kill yourselves, that's not going to happen. So, this is kind of one of those things where it's like, Christians, fight back. Like, don't roll over and die, So, and again, look at this right here. They had these Christians crawling. This is Islam, guys. This is what Islam. These are Christians in Syria, and they're being forced to crawl into their town and to their deaths.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this, guys. I mean, they film this because they think this is awesome. This is being spread all over places like Al Jazeera as like a good thing. It's like, look at these evil Christian losers. It's like the righteous Muslim fist of ISIS came down and executed all these people. Look. Not only that, I mean, a lot like Christ. They're being forced. They're being tortured and forced to crawl and being just walking to their deaths effectively.
Yeah. This is basically, similar to carrying the cross to be crucified. They're being forced to crawl on their stomachs, their hands and knees, to probably be beheaded here shortly.
Guys, this is the religion of peace. This is Islam. This is what Islam looks like.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like.
But there is no, and this is what we're talking about. There's no Christian equivalent to this. The only thing that they could hold up, that the left can hold up to this, is the Crusades and Abu Ghraib.
Yeah, well, I mean, they sometimes, because there were some Christians in the deep South that claimed that slavery was in the Bible, therefore slavery is justified. But remember, it was Christianity. It was Christians who ended the slave trade. Like, it was Christian moral ethics that ended slavery and the slave trade. Mm-hmm. And remember, in Islam, they didn't stop. I mean, in Iran and most of the Islamic countries, slavery was still on the menu until the 60s, until they finally said, okay, slavery is not longer a thing. But I mean, it's not like we all know that slavery is still a big deal in the Middle Eastern countries. You can go to, what's the country?
Dubai.
No, not Dubai. The one in the Middle East where
Benghazi.
You can go to Benghazi right now, and you can buy a black person. You can literally they sell people on a market there. Like that's Islam for you. Those are Middle Eastern Islamic countries.
It's justified in the Quran.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but this next one I have here is trash like this is why Trump won. Again, the LGBTQ IA plus folks coming after your kids, like demanding that they come to your pride parades or go to drag queen story time hours. And
that
stuff.
right there, that is the death of Western civilization. The fact that some mom was like totally okay with her little daughter walking up to these degenerates here at this pride parade, like, and you have no issue with it. It's like, haha, isn't this culturally enriching? Like, look at this is so cute. I'm gonna snap a picture.
Yeah, but this is why single mothers raising children is a bad thing.
I wouldn't want if I had kids, I wouldn't want my own kids seeing me dressed like that in the privacy of my house.
Yeah.
But again, and these people are so deranged.
If it's something that you wouldn't let your child see you do, why are you okay with it when you see a grown-ass man doing it in the street for pride?
Yeah. Again, what is wrong? How sick is our culture if that is perceived as normal and beautiful?
So now this one, I don't know what this is. You sent me this one as well. Let me read here. Breaking. Ahmoud Kahili, a leading terror supporter at Colombia, has been detained by DHS, and his green card has been revoked. He is now facing deportation. More should follow. Good riddance. So a suspected foreign national at Barnard Library occupation. Muhammad killed profile Canary Mission. So another activist. Oh yeah. So this is those activists and protesters, like deliberate protesters losing foreign protesters losing their green card.
Yeah,
status,
I
basically.
freaking
That's
love
awesome.
it. Finally, there are repercussions. Like anybody who goes to a Hamas or a pro-Palestine protest and anything violent happens, do that. What's the law that they used in The Dark Knight where you can basically justify arresting tons of people for conspiracy? And kick them all out. Again,
it's the RICO. It was RICO. Yeah, it was the same thing they tried to get Trump under.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, like I said, if you do that, guess what, guys? I mean, we could deport tons of Islamic terrorist sympathizers in this country and solve a lot of problems. I mean, we just showed you a tons of videos today of why you should be very skeptical and why Islam is scary. It's a scary religion, and the people who practice it will justify it by any means necessary. They'll justify it by lying because they're allowed to lie in their religion. They'll justify it by, there's no better way to say it, by murder, by killing, by mass murder. Again, it's an evil religion that imposes its will on the world. It's spread by the sword. Yeah. And Christianity is somehow spread despite the fact they were being slaughtered and killed in its early early days.
And the fact that it for martyrdom in the religion, it offers you two different things. Like, this is how you know Islam and Christianity is not the same. You martyr yourself as an Islamic person, you get pleasures of the flesh in the afterlife. Whereas Jesus in the Bible clearly states that you don't. You get to be eternally saved and be living with your Lord and Savior for the rest of your life.
You get to live in basically nirvana with the your Lord and Savior. You get to live in it. Just, I don't know. It's like, listen to the people who have, I think, what's his name? I can't think of the guy's name, but there's a book about like the case for heaven. And, they talk about, anybody that's had an outer body experience, they talk about what it's like, being out of your body for a little bit. It's pretty crazy. But anyway, that's about all we've got for you today. This is the Twins with the Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. But that's all we've got for you today. God bless you.
We're going to end with the video we started with because it's just so good. But we'll see you later, everybody.
In December 2014, ISIS captured 7 Coptic Egyptians as they were making their way home to Egypt. A week later, ISIS raided the housing complex where the Egyptians had been staying, capturing 13 more Coptic Christians. In all, 20 Coptic Egyptians were gathered together in an underground prison. With Matthew, the group became 21. Thus, the journey of torture began. The more they were tortured, the more their faith seemed to grow. The Christians were forced to wear orange jumpsuits as ISIS filmed them walking along the beach. The man walked looking toward the sky and didn't say a word except their prayers to God. ISIS slaughtered the man one by one, hoping that some would deny their faith. None did, and they all died with the name of Jesus on their lips. December 2014, ISIS captured 7 Coptic Egyptians as they were making their way home to Egypt. A week later, ISIS raided the house